So one of the things games do really well is they hide what they don't do poorly. Or they just don't have things that you think and you just assume that they do. So as a game developer, I'm good at I'm also not very smart, so that helps. But I'm good at playing a game and just enjoying the game and not thinking about it and then going back later and going like, really? Really? And I try to do that so that I can get the like not picky of like, hey, this game doesn't have this feature or that feature, right? Because when you do this idea, like a lot of people have this idea that there's like this game design document that you create, that you design everything and everything's like, what's your turn speed and blah, blah. No, you don't know. You don't know any of that and how it feels or how it's going to work. And instead, you got to start putting things up, prototyping them and iterating on them. And that's how you kind of get the feel for what things are like, and kind of the gist of it and what matters in your game and what doesn't matter in your game. So I was going to do something. I did the dumbest door lock ever. It is Mastermind meets a door lock, which is like just a dumb door lock, but it's funny to me to have to do that. That you have this option that you can get lucky and figure out the door lock, even if you instead of hunting for the code. I'm kind of making this thing like the games progress where every time you're stuck somewhere, you have to get past something, and there should be multiple ways to do it. And this is one of them. You just get lucky, right, with this. And so I'm working on this, and I'm like, well, how much animation do I need to put into the fingers hitting the buttons? Because I have the buttons, like I have the tactile thing. I don't have this. It doesn't go up in the UI. It's actually in-game, and you're interacting with it. And like a lot of the stuff that I've done is pushed into there. A lot of physics objects you can pick up and throw around, because that's kind of like the dopey fun I enjoy in games that I think often are gone. And then that's when I went back and I went like, well, how does Cyberpunk 2077 do this? Because they have a lot of the screens you interact with, the elevators. You never put your hand up. You never. There is no animation ever. They just cut the animation entirely and you just buy it. I'm like, okay. My brain did that. I mean, that's the same game that I didn't realize I didn't have a flashlight until I realized I didn't have a flashlight because it was so dark. The enemies can't climb there, right? So that was one of the things when I was prototyping over the summer that I had in my head, the Far Cry 4 kind of model, right? Far Cry 4 model is a way I think of enemies sometimes, where you have snipers. Snipers can climb to their different nests to get angles on you. Heavy weapon guys can't climb, but they can get different angles on you. You have like machine gun guys, and you have melee guys. Both of those can climb any place you can climb, so that you're always under threat and you have to deal with it. Well, that's really hard to program. That's really hard to capture all the essence of places that you can climb. So Cyberpunk just doesn't do it. Now, that was fine combat, but not the greatest. But they do the angles thing from a distance and also just weird. Sometimes you can cheese it, and that's fine. Right? Because sometimes you're not really looking to have realistic combat. You're looking to have fun combat, and that works. But like, we went back the other day and we played Tom Clancy Wildlands. You know in Tom Clancy Wildlands, you can't jump. You can mantle things. You can pull yourself up, but you can't jump. Okay. You also can't carry things. You can't carry things in a lot of games. So like, again, I like to be able to stack stupid physics objects and be dumb. Like to me, that's one of the joys of breaking the game and living on the edge. And I want my dumb little game to have that. So I have that. And I know why they don't, because then you could get to weird little places and off kind of the beaten path that you don't want to get to because they can stack things. I mean, PUBG, you did this by pulling a car up, right? You pull the car up, you climb on the car, and then you can climb onto the roof, right? I remember when I was first working on Half-Life 2 Episode 1, one of the level designers was like going around and playing the game, and it looked weird, and I'm like, what are you doing? And he had set the gravity at like half gravity. And he's like, oh, because people are better at jumping than I am. So I'm just going to figure that they can get to any place that half gravity can get to, and I'm going to make sure that those are blocked in or held in, right? Because that's the style of game that was. So I'm kind of curious, for other people who've lasted this long in this video, what are things that you didn't realize weren't in a game that you just kind of in your brain, like it's the Cyberpunk 2077 thing of like, oh, yeah, of course I could click a button. Of course my finger's going out. Of course it is hitting and interacting with that. Because I have these keypads. The keypads depress. They show that, right? Like I like that diegetic interactions in the world. I'm going to do that through the game. People always say they like that, but I think you don't realize it's not there, but it is there. So I'm thinking I'm not going to do the animation because I'm bad at animation. that solves that problem. But I'm kind of curious of what games have you played that you realize later, like, oh yeah, hell, I couldn't do that. I couldn't carry things. There's so many games you can't carry things that they just disappear. Cyberpunk 2077, I know, keep talking about that game. But like, you don't carry anything ever, right? Everything is represented in menus. Anytime you open up a cabinet, anytime you do anything, you're interacting with menus. You're never interacting with the real things. And that works fine. But it's a weird game because it makes you do a lot of physical things. And so that grounds you in it. And I like that. I like that physicality. But you're not really being physical. And maybe that's enough. Maybe that's good. Maybe that works. I don't know. So yeah, again, I am just looping around saying the same thing again. I am kind of curious of what other games have things that you just got through the game and no realization of like, I couldn't crouch. I couldn't lay down. A lot of games don't have prone either. I'm not probably going to have prone. Prone's another one. Being able to go totally flat. That I get why games don't do it. There's a whole, yeah.